Right now, we're joined by ABC News legal analyst Sarah Isgur, author of the new book, The Last Branch Standing, a potentially surprising, occasionally witty journey inside today's Supreme Court. I didn't write this. I think it's quite witty, but I can't talk today. But please welcome Sarah Isgur. So, Joy, you start.
So, Sarah, let's just jump in with the fight over birthright citizenship, which is Trump went to the Supreme Court to watch arguments over his executive order to deny children of undocumented immigrants born in this country. He doesn't want them to have citizenship, even though they were born here. And things went awry. They did not work out the way he wanted them to. So what do you make of, first of all, of him even going there, which I understand is the first time a president has ever done that, am I right?
That's right.
And what were your takeaways from the oral arguments that the Supreme Court did or had?
So the real question is which way Trump is going to lose, because there are so many options. He can lose on what the 14th Amendment meant in 1868 when we ratified it. He could lose on the statute that Congress passed in 1952. I mean, really, there's...
Tell us what that amendment is.
So the 14th Amendment says all persons born in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens automatically. Now, that doesn't include diplomats, right? They're not subject to our jurisdiction. They can't even get a parking ticket. But since then, we have had, everyone else born here is automatically a citizen. But Congress is the one who is supposed to put the 14th Amendment into effect. So part of the question of how he may lose, and I think this would be 9-0, is, Congress might be able to pass some law. We're happy to look at that someday. But a president acting alone cannot do this, so, we don't even care.
I see. So the anchor babies are the target of this, mainly, right? Children who are born here, but their parents are not citizens.
Are undocumented.
His executive order is so broad, it covers a whole lot.
Does that cover Barron? That could cover Barron.
No, he's not.
No.
He's born
He was
He's
born here.
Yeah, so are these kids we're talking about?
He's an American citizen.
No.
His father.
Parent, his father's a
his
citizen.
father, not his mother.
Let me ask you this, Sarah. You worked in the Trump administration when Jeff Sessions was the Attorney General. What do you make of Trump's firing of Pam Bondi? He fired her the day after they appeared together at the Supreme Court. Do you think her handling of the Epstein files may have had something to do with her termination?
I mean, let's be real. She was, under termination the second she said yes to the job in the first place.
Correct.
Trump wants extreme loyalty, and he wants a lot of competence. Those two do not go together, especially in a lawyer. So every attorney general has failed under Trump's test. Now, Sessions and Barr failed under the loyalty test. Bondi failed under the competence test. So everyone's making so much out of, her not doing Epstein well. It's the well part that mattered. She, a whole lot of things were not competent. I would argue she wasn't AG since October. AG in name only, a gyno. Is that? Maybe not. Maybe we should come up with a better
Start
Sarah, you see what I said about witty? She's witty, okay?
So the Supreme Court's often at the center of political debates, and the favorability for the court is lower at an all-time low. Many believe the court has given Trump a pass with the presidential immunity, but they broke with him on the tariffs. So do you think or believe this court is partisan?
No, and that's part of why I wrote the book. We're blaming the wrong branch. I mean, first of all, every substantive policy that Trump has tried to put into effect, Alien Enemies Act on immigration, federalizing the National Guard in Chicago, tariffs, birthright citizenship that we've talked about. He's 0 for 4 at the Supreme Court at this point. But look, when the Supreme Court is deciding the vast majority of the cases, they're telling us what they think Congress said. This is the mail-in ballot case of whether Mississippi can accept ballots 5 days after election. This is the Remain in Mexico case of whether the administration can stop people from reaching the southern border from applying for asylum. The Supreme Court isn't deciding whether these are good policies or bad policies. They're just telling us what they think Congress said in this statute and whether someone has the power to do this. So when the Supreme Court says yes or no, Congress could jump in the next day and say, actually, we meant this. The Supreme Court's supposed to be part of this conversation. The reason we're so mad at them, the reason that it's become so partisan feeling is because we don't believe Congress will do that anymore. We don't believe we have the power to ratify amendments to the Constitution anymore. So the Supreme Court becomes the last word, and it's not supposed to be.
Yes, that's very well said.
Nice.
I'm such a fan of your SCOTUS blog, by
It's
the way. I always
fantastic.
turn to it.
Yeah,
You're very
really
brilliant,
well
but
done.
make things digestible. But I want to ask you, there's been this speculation that Justice Alito might retire at the end of this term. I want to ask first, do considerations around politics ever go into this? Because that would open the door for Donald Trump to be able to appoint another Supreme Court justice. Do you think he retires? What's he considering? What's the likelihood?
And a young one that will be there forever.
Samuel Alito is the only person at this point, and God, whether he will be off the court. I think the more interesting question is, the White House obviously would love another opening, to your point. What are they saying behind the scenes? Are they, for instance, letting Justice Alito know that they would replace him with one of his former clerks, shortlister Judge Andy Oldham, for instance, so that Justice Alito would feel like, I know you'd like to stay a little longer, it's a fun job, but if you leave, we'll continue your legacy.
Isn't Oldham under 50?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, that's part of what could go on behind the scenes here. But we've also seen justices, they like these jobs, they think they are doing important work, and they're loath to leave them, as we've seen from Ruth Bader Ginsburg, from Justice Scalia. Sometimes they don't retire.
Yeah.
Wow.
So much.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very
You
much.
really do clear it up.
And SCOTUS blog is something
know.
that everyone should read if they want to know
Yes.
about the Supreme Court.
We live blog the oral arguments
It's great.
and opinion days. We try to make it fun.
It's great.
All right. The new book, Last Branch Standing, is out now, and you can scan the QR code on the screen to buy a copy.